move to discharge the Committee on Government Operations from further consideration of Assembly Bill 6470, sponsored by myself, for the purpose of bringing the same before the House for its immediate consideration and request permission to explain it.
Please continue with your explanation, Mr. Tedisco.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I think it's only appropriate on a day like this, Earth Day, to bring forth this legislation, hopefully to the floor, to discharge it out of the Governmental Operations Committee for a discussion, debate, and hopefully passage, and hopefully pass it in both houses and get it to the governor for his signature as quickly as possible. This is a bill that piggybacks on the very effective and successful efforts of our colleague, Assemblywoman Galef, who shepherded through last year a very significant piece of legislation with many of you on the other side of the aisle co-sponsoring it, and those of us on this side of the aisle, kind of a bipartisan concept, a no-brainer, which would provide for a change in the Constitution of the state of New York. It would have to be passed not only last year, but next year in a second successive legislative body, go before the voters by referendum, and then in 2014 we would have been able to implement it. And as you know, the Constitution says that legislation, and probably most appropriately, has to age on our desk for 3 days for our evaluation and for us to read it and comprehend and get a good understanding. That was back when they didn't have a lot of computers or iPads or iPods. And with this piece of legislation that Mrs. Galef has worked so hard to implement with our support last year would have done, if it passes and goes on the referendum, would be to change that to have it age on our desks for 3 days, but in digital form, to move into the 21st century, save millions of dollars in printing costs and paperwork and disposal of waste, and on Earth Day, probably save a lot of our forestry and our trees. A very good bill. Commend her for that and commend this body for supporting it. The bill that we're asking to discharge to the floor, as I said, piggybacks on that. It does not need, and this is the good part about it, a constitutional change or a constitutional amendment. It deals with the interaction of senators and assemblypersons with ourselves, intra-government here, and with authorities and with agencies as we send information on the research and the documents we provide through our commissions and our task force and our studies. And it would allow them to go into digital form, as it would our authorities, our agencies, our universities, and our colleges. And basically, to summarize, it would require the Senate and the Assembly to make all legislative reports, digests, and records available on their official websites in digital and printable formats. It would require all state agencies to make all annual reports and other public documents available on their representative websites in digital and printable formats. And it defines what state agencies are. It includes any department, board, bureau, commission, division, office, council, committee or office of the state, public benefit corporation, or public authority. I think it would be kind of shameful with a $9.5 billion deficit last year, and we faced a $2.5 billion deficit this year, to not really look at saving what I would project would be into the $50 million or more dollars if we were to move into the 21st century and do our messaging not only with government but with our other half that's outside of these chambers, our authorities and our agencies and our commissions. There would still be digital paper copies kept. We would have them available. They would be able to be printed out. But we would move into the 21st century on behalf of the constituents we represent, and we'd save a ton of money. We'd save Mother Earth. And it would be more effective and more efficient. So I ask for your consideration on this motion to discharge to bring this piece of legislation to the floor. And Mr. Speaker, I ask an evaluation of that.